Hi, Robin with Oxy-Dry, and here I am doing the grooming step, the final step on this upstairs carpet. About 4 years old, I think. And there were a few dark marks on the carpet that have all come out. They were apparently pee-pee from the doggy, and the lady had tried something on her to try and get them out, but anyway, they're gone now. And so now this is the final step. Carpet's dry, of course. And I'm going to use the Sebo X8 automatic to do the vacuuming, post-vacuuming, and yeah, let's get her done. Yeah. So, yeah, I'm really liking this vacuum. It definitely has some advantages. The light is nice. Also, it is automatic in its adjustment of the brush roll on the carpet, and that's as long as it remains functional. I'm liking it, I think. I do find in some cases it's a bit hard to move the vacuum on the carpet because it's sort of probably down a little bit further, sealing onto the carpet. But also, when that occurs, if I change the direction I'm vacuuming, I'm finding that seems to relieve it. So so far it hasn't been really a problem. It's just a characteristic of this vacuum. Now, which made me think about other vacuums. I used the Protein vacuum for a few years, and it's a popular vacuum. A lot of guys really like it, and it's not that it's not a good vacuum. It is, but if you've got a Protein vacuum or you have access to one, if you take a good look at it, what you'll notice is at the front of the vacuum, with a brush roll sits in the chamber, and there's got a sealed chamber around the brush roll, that where it contacts the carpet on the front edge, you'll see there's a series of slots, which means that the vacuum actually doesn't seal the airflow down onto the carpet, and which is and it actually is really designed for low pile, level loop, commercial grade carpet. It works perfectly well in that case. Now what happens is, on a carpet that's thicker pile, because there's no height adjustment on that vacuum, and a lot of vacuums are that way actually, where it's just set a certain way. I know my Shark are that way, I think, and I'm assuming that the Dysons are, although I'm not sure, but a lot of vacuums are that way, and what happens is, if you don't have your vacuum sealing onto the carpet fiber, then you're not going to be drawing air through the carpet at all. You'll be drawing air across the carpet, and that's actually one of the characteristics of the Protein vacuum. Now, the Hoover Hush Tone, which I've been using for a few years now, does seal down to the carpet, but has as does this vacuum, the Sebo, and it will draw the air through the carpet, so you're going to get more effective deep extraction, deep cleaning with a vacuum like that. So that's something to bear in mind. Of course, the Protein also has its kind of chronically it's easy to clog because of the way that where the tube goes into the back of the power head, and then it narrows down as it changes direction, and we all know that if we've used one of those for a while, inevitably you end up with a clog in there, and once in a while it's not a, and it's a pain in the butt to get it out. It just is the way, it's just a characteristic of the design. The design is actually very old, and it has 2 motors, a vacuum motor and a separate motor for the brush roll. It's not really as user-friendly a vacuum either, because if you have to do anything with the brush roll, you have to actually take about 12 screws out, pull the thing all apart. It's quite a deal, whereas the Hoover Hush Tone, it all just unclips in a couple of seconds. The hoses pop off, and it's easy to deal with if you got a clog. I've only actually got a clog once in the Hush Tone, I think something jammed in the hose. And this vacuum would be very easy, because there's actually, the brush roll just pops out. You push that button there, and the brush roll pops out, and you can get in there. And then there's an access underneath. There's a little trap door for getting into the back where the hose is, and then this actually pops off too, the whole top part of the vacuum. So it's actually really easy to deal with anything like that. And that's something I don't think there's a make or break reason not to, use the Pro Team. I know a lot of guys do like them, but as I say, I used them for years, and they're a fine vacuum. But a vacuum like this will definitely be able to pull more out of the carpet. Even if it had this exact same airflow, which it probably has pretty close, just the design of the vacuum nozzle itself on the bottom of the machine means that the Pro Team is going to be less effective at drawing stuff out of the carpet down deep anyway. So I've been using the Sebo a lot lately. If you're watching the videos, you've seen that. And I am liking it. There's nothing I really dislike about it. Although sometimes I'm finding it's a little bit hard to push on certain carpets. But again, if I just change direction, that it actually seems to eliminate that. But I can tell that it's really pulling hard on the carpet. Oh. And of course, our goal is to have maximum effect as far as cleaning goes, so I can see why your average consumer would find this to be a bit of a bear to use on certain carpets, because it really does pull really hard, which makes it a little bit harder to push, because it's drawing, it sucks itself onto the carpet. It's pulling the air through the carpet, which is what you want. But I find it works really well on the steps. I'm a little surprised at how easy it makes doing steps. Yes, that's a speedier. The Hoover Hush Tone will work on steps, but it's a little bit more clumsy. It does work, but the Pro Team really is awkward to do that with, because there's no handle on the front. Although many years ago I actually modified one and put a handle on the front. Only did it on the one vacuum. That was a long time ago. I never did it on the other ones I had. I just went to Home Depot and got a drawer handle and opened it up, and I can't remember how I attached it exactly, but it worked. You can use the Kirby on steps. It actually works pretty darn well, because you can lock the handle in the down position and then stand a few steps below, and it actually works pretty darn well. The brush roll is the machine is adjusting when you see the light flash. The light turn on, that means it's either going up or going down. To put the brush roll at the optimum position to get the maximum removal of soil. So yeah, that's pretty ingenious actually. Got a specialized sensing. It's like, I don't know how it works, but somehow it senses if the brush roll starts moving too slow, I guess, I don't know, but it works. But I can feel it really drawing out of the carpet. That's really sucking hard. It's actually harder to push this way. If I turn around and face the other direction, then it's actually quite a bit easier. Depends on the grain of the carpet, I guess. And not all carpets are like that. Most carpets, I don't find that happens, but in some cases it does. But that's not going to stop me from using it, I don't think. But one thing I'm noticing, it really puts a it does a very lovely finish on the carpet. It seems to really groom nicely. And that works really well. That's fast, nice and efficient. It's like really quick to pull out that edging tool and do an edge as you need to. So that's a nice feature. I think this model is the only one, by the way, that has the light, and that's a nice feature. But you're going to pay for that. You know, I guess my thinking about, I've seen comments from people about how you don't need to spend money to be in the business. You can do it really cheap here, cheap there, and I get that. But I've been at this 30 years now, and one of the things that is really important as you get older is you begin to realize that you want the best, you want the most efficient, you want the best quality. You don't want to be replacing stuff every few months or whatever. I know there's guys that are quite happy to go to Walmart and buy a $100 vacuum and they replace them every, well, I guess they replace them every year at least, or more. That's not the way I think. And besides, I think my view is that we should actually be using stuff that's of professional grade quality. Professional, did I say that right? Professional quality. Top grade. That's just my thought, anyway. And besides that, I have to spend money, or I actually end up with a lot of money sitting in the bank that I can't draw out unless I want to pay a huge amount of tax in the business account, because we are, it's just the way things work for us. So I can spend, I've got money to spend is what I'm getting at. Thinking of buying a brand new Centaur. I probably will within the next couple of months, just so that I can have a brand new one. You get it with all the bells and whistles and everything. Because the one I'm using for residential, it's actually got a little issue of it's not a big deal, at least not yet, but eventually I'll have to address it, and then when it gets to that point, that's where I might just replace it anyway. So it's got to do with the handle. I could just replace it, that part, I guess, but anyway, we'll see. Okay, now I gotta go and anyway, I'm gonna let you go. I gotta go down and I gotta vacuum the landings and then groom the steps. So I'll let you go. Thanks for watching. Have a good day.